Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is one of my favorite games of all time. It has really awesome characters. A cool feature every character has are taunts. Each character has 3 taunts, and each taunt has a different animation. However, some characters have taunts that deal damage to opponents. These characters include Luigi, Snake, Greninja, and Kazuya. However, what if every character has a damaging taunt? That is what we're gonna find out in this video. Last video, I gave every Smash 64 character a damaging taunt. So in this video, I'll be giving damaging taunts for characters from Smash Melee. Unfortunately, I don't have a capture card, so I'll only show you screenshots. Now, how will I give each character a damaging taunt? Well, here's how. If a character has a taunt that seems like an attack, that could be a damaging taunt. If none of the taunts apply, then I would give that character a random taunt, or a taunt from their series. With that said, let's get started, and I hope you enjoy this video. Now let's get started with Peach. Her damaging taunt would be her up taunt, where her umbrella has a hitbox when it spins, dealing multiple weak hits with a weak knockback. So there would be a hitbox at her umbrella that does a couple percent of damage, and deals a very weak very weak knockback, and yeah, that will be her damaging taunt. For Bowser, it will be his side taunt, where his bites have a hitbox that deals some damage with some knockback. So this would be one of his stronger taunts. It will be one of the stronger taunts in the game, and that deals some damage and knockback. However, he'll be pretty vulnerable during that period. And the taunt would also be reduced to 2 bites. So that's a change that will be made, but that would be Bowser's damaging taunt. For Ice Climbers, it will be their side taunt, where the hammer has a hitbox when they do their pose, which deals some damage with some knockback. And let the animation have them do more of a swing to get them do their pose, but yeah, this one though, it will be their damaging taunt. For Sheik, it will be her side taunt, where her tripwire has a small hitbox that deals small damage and a weak knockback, and make her face more towards the opponent and bring that tripwire closer to the opponent, so it would actually deal damage. And it will be pretty weak damage with a pretty weak knockback. But that's what I can think of for her taunt. For Zelda, her damaging taunt would be her side taunt, where the fire deals multiple weak hits with a very weak knockback. And so the fire has a fire property, and so it could light explosive barrels, and then it deals multiple weak hits with a pretty weak knockback. But that's the best damaging taunt for Zelda. For Dr. Mario, it'll be his side taunt, where the capsule deals 1 hit with a minor knockback. And so this one, it deals less damage than his neutral special, but it does have really good vertical range, and it deals a pretty minor knockback as well. But that makes the most sense for his damaging taunt. For Pichu, it will be his up taunt, where the electricity hitboxes deal multiple hits to the opponent. It will deal more damage than Pikachu's up taunt, so it will be really similar to that, except more damage. However, it will also deal recall damage. So whatever percentage Pichu deals damage to the opponent, the recall damage would be like 1/3 of the percent Pichu deals damage. So, it's the maximum damage Pichu can do, alright? Not like how much damage he deals to the opponent. So the recall damage would also be, it will always be the same damage, whether he hits the opponent or not. It will be 1/3 of the maximum damage that he can deal to the opponent. And it also makes sense to do recall damage, because Pichu always takes recall damage from electricity attacks, so this is why it deals recall damage. It also makes sense. So that will be Pichu's damaging taunt. For Falco, his damaging taunt would be his down taunt, where the end of the animation deals damage. And so At the end, Falco would slap the opponent, dealing a weak hit with a weak knockback. And make his ending of the taunt give Falco an animation that seems even more like a slap, where he would actually slap the opponent. It will kind of look like that. But that's the best taunt for Falco that can deal damage. For Marth, his damaging taunt would be his up taunt, where the sword during the pose would deal a weak hit with a weak knockback. And of course it will have more damage dealt at the tip of the sword. So this is the best taunt I can think of for Marth that deals damage. For Young Link, his damaging taunt would be his up taunt, where the sword during the pose would deal a weak hit with a weak knockback. It's similar to Marth's, but alter the sword angle so it will seem like a stab, so the degree of the sword would be higher, you know, like this one seems like around 40 degrees, so make that like 75 to 80 degrees, or maybe 90 degrees, so like it will be like a stab, so it will be pretty similar to Marth's. For Ganondorf, his damaging taunt would be his side taunt, where his dark spells would deal some damage with some knockback. So this is another one of the stronger taunts in the game. However, Ganondorf would be very vulnerable during this period. So yeah, Ganondorf would have a really strong taunt, but he would also be really vulnerable, and so, but that is the taunt I could think of for Ganondorf. For Mewtwo, his damaging taunt would be his side taunt, where the dark energy would deal multiple small hits with a weak knockback, so kinda like Fox's damaging taunt, but except it won't have fire properties. It will be a dark attack, but this is the taunt I could think of for Mewtwo that can deal damage. For Roy, his damaging taunt would be his up taunt, which is another pose showing the sword. And for Fire Emblem characters, that is all I can like think of for majority of them, because I never played any Fire Emblem games, so it cut me some slack if you don't like this. But yeah, give the sword a fire effect where it deals 2 hits and has some fire properties, so it will be pretty different from Marth's taunt. And you know, it doesn't have to like, the sword's angle does not need to be altered. Just had some fire effects, so it will not be like a stab. You know, it will just be him showing his sword with a fire effect, and that is what deals damage to the opponent. And that would be the best taunt for Roy that deals damage. Lastly, Mr. Game & Watch. His damaging taunt would be his up taunt, where the bell would deal 1 hit with a weak damage and knockback. This could also be the case for his side taunt as well, but I think that he should get a different, unique taunt for his side taunt, and his up taunt will be the one showing his bell and dealing damage. And that is all I can think of for Game & Watch's damaging taunt. And it could be either his up or side taunt, but he needs to have a unique taunt for his side taunt or up taunt, either of them. But I think the taunt where him showing his bell, you know, it can deal like a damage. The hitbox would be at the bell. And that's all I can think of for Mr. Game & Watch. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. Today I did melee characters. Next time I will be giving damaging taunts to Smash Brawl characters, and then Smash 4 characters, then Smash Ultimate characters, and then lastly Smash Ultimate DLC characters. If you haven't watched the Smash 64 characters, then I suggest you to go watch that video right now. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.